Many Christians know just enough of the Bible to be a danger to themselves and others. This means that they don't test the information that they're hearing in sermons to make sure it's accurate. These errors have people looking at star apps right now totally misunderstanding scripture. So let's look at the Bible and see what it actually says about signs in the sun, moon, and stars and when it's going to occur. First, you need to know that the Bible has parallel passages. There's Matthew 24, Luke 21, and Mark 13. This means that these passages go together, and sometimes they're going to provide different information. But if you only look at one, you might miss the entire context. So let's start with the longest version of the Olivet Discourse in Matthew 24. Starting at verse 29, it says, "Immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun will be darkened and the moon will not give its light. The stars will fall from heaven and the powers of the heavens will be shaken. Then the sign of the Son of Man will appear in heaven, and then all the tribes of the earth will mourn, and then they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he will send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they will gather together his elect from the four winds from one end of heaven to the other." So are there signs in the heavens? Absolutely. When are they happening? After the tribulation. Here's another parallel passage. Mark 13:24. It says, "But in those days after that tribulation, the sun will be darkened and the moon will not give its light. The stars of heaven will fall and the powers in the heavens will be shaken. Then they will see the Son of Man coming in the clouds with great power and glory, and then he will send his angels and gather together his elect from the four winds, from the farthest part of earth to the farthest part of heaven." Now let's look at Luke 21, which is often quoted, and see if we can match the context. It says, starting in verse 25, "There will be signs in the sun, moon, and stars. On the earth, nations will be in anguish and perplexity at the roaring and tossing of the sea. People will faint from terror, apprehensive of what is coming on the world, for the heavenly bodies will be shaken. At that time, we will see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. When these things begin to take place, stand up and lift up your heads, because your redemption is drawing near." Now, if you didn't read Matthew 24 and Mark 13 before coming to Luke 21, you might not get that after the tribulation context. So these are not pre-tribulation rapture occurrences. This is discussing the second coming of Jesus after the tribulation. Now let's look at Revelation 6 at the sixth seal, because many people believe that this is discussing the same events as the Olivet Discourse. You be the judge. Verse 12 says, "I looked when he opened the sixth seal, and behold, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, the moon became like blood, and the stars of heaven fell to the earth, as a fig drops from its late figs when it is shaken by a mighty wind. Then the sky receded as a scroll when it is rolled up, and every mountain and island was moved out of its place. And the kings of the earth, the great men, the rich men, the commanders, the mighty men, every slave and every freeman, hid themselves in the caves and in the rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks, Fall on us and hide us from the face of him who sits on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath has come, and who is able to stand?" So again, none of these are pre-tribulation events. The sixth seal is opening after wars and famines and death and martyrdom of the saints. And some would say that the first seal is the introduction of the Antichrist to the world. There's a little debate on that one, but still, once you get to the sixth seal, that's not a pre-tribulation rapture event. So I just want to beg you guys, when you see people pulling things out about a blood moon or signs in the heavens, look at the context, or else you will be fair game for deception and every new trend that comes around and take scripture out of context. I love you guys, I promise. God bless.